And what you discover when you look at people that are successful, they fail 5 times more often than the people that don't fail. But it's because they're doing so many more things. They're making so many more decisions. They're finding the courage to move forward.
That is Dan Martell, author of the best-selling book, Buy Back Your Time. He went from being in prison at age 15 to becoming a highly successful entrepreneur. I got the chance to chat with Dan, and let me tell you, his story is inspiring as hell. So keep watching. Hey Posse, what's up? It's Alex coming at you this week with an exclusive interview with my friend Dan Martell. Now, if you don't already know who Dan is, I want to tell you a little bit about him before we jump into the interview. Dan is a serial entrepreneur, investor, and coach who has helped thousands of entrepreneurs around the world build wildly successful businesses. He has started and sold several tech companies, was named one of Canada's top angel investors, and has worked with massive companies like Intercom, Udemy, and Unbounce. He's also the host of the podcast, The Growth Stacking Show, creator of SaaS Academy, and the author of the Wall Street Journal best-selling book, Buy Back Your Time, a must-read, by the way, if you are looking to build your business and scale. He has helped thousands of CEOs, business owners, and entrepreneurs shift the way they think about systems and processes and time management and focus, all that really important business stuff, so that they can truly level up and create the life that most people can only dream of. I loved this interview with Dan. Initially, we planned to talk about systems and building your team, all the stuff he talks about in his book, but where this interview went was so much more juicy than that, and I think you'll absolutely love it. Dan's story is a true example of what you can achieve with the right mindset. And trust me, you will walk away today with some practical steps that you can take to become more successful in your life and business, including the one thing that you really need to evaluate in your life if you truly want to change it. And honestly, this one kind of shook me up a bit, but it is so freaking important. Now, after the interview, I want to hear what you thought. So once it's all said and done, make sure you drop your favorite parts in the comment section below so that Dan and I can check them out. And of course, while you're at it, make sure to give me a like and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified when my next video goes live. Now here's the interview. Dan Martell, welcome to my YouTube channel.
Oh, Alex, this is an honor. I was telling you earlier, your community, this channel, gateway drug to entrepreneurship for sure. And just a very passionate group of individuals. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. That means the world to me. I mean, we all scream posse power from the rooftops. And, guys, this is proof that people feel it. Honestly, I say we're the best damn crew on the internet. And now, boom, proof Dan Martell is saying it is so.
100%.
Thank you so much for being here. My YouTube channel is so many incredible copywriters, aspiring copywriters, people who want to start businesses. And one of the things I love the most about the way that you show up on your Instagram, which is amazing, by the way, if you guys aren't following Dan, I'll link to his profile below. He shares so much incredible content. Many of you know him as the founder of SaaS Academy and the author of Buy Back Your Time. He recently came and spoke inside the Rain Clubhouse to my Rainmakers all about the buyback principle. But I was like, you gotta come speak on my YouTube channel because so much of what you share is so powerful when it comes to just mindset and entrepreneurship and the journey. And I know that you post a lot of incredible content. You have a beautiful home in Kelowna, which is not far from me, by the way. You drive this incredible car, you have a team, you have these companies, but I know that you didn't start there. And it's so easy for everyone out there to look at successful entrepreneurs and go, I can never be like Alex, I can never be like Dan. I so badly want to build a business on my own damn terms, but how the hell am I going to do it when there's already people out there like Dan doing it so well? And so I would love for you, Dan, to share a bit of your journey, because I know it wasn't always easy and that you had to overcome a lot to get where you are today. But maybe let's rewind a little bit and you can share a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I would right off the bat, I'd ask everybody listening, how many of you guys been to prison twice? How many of you guys, got diagnosed with, some kind of mental disability and put on medication, parent, and it's just, I say that because not only did I have really didn't come from anything. I mean, I started in a friggin' hole, and the fact that I'm alive every day, Alex, I am grateful. Today I got emotional. Somebody asked me today, they said could you even imagine that you live this life? And I started tearing up. I go, no, I see my 2 little boys and I'm just in awe that this is this is my family and these are the opportunities. And, but yeah, I grew up in a really tough environment. I was second oldest of four. My mom had a drinking issue. There was a lot of, feelings, let's call it feelings in the home. And I ended up getting addicted to drugs when I was 14, 15, and hung out with the wrong people and did things I shouldn't have done, and ended up in prison the first time when I was 15. And then the second time what happened, I was high and drunk in a stolen car and a handgun sitting next to me in a backpack. And I said, if the cops stop me, I'm just going to point the gun and let them take my life. And I ended up getting in a high-speed chase and smashing the side of a house and went for the gun, and for whatever reason, it got stuck. And I woke up sober, wondering what my life was going to look like. And I ended up spending almost 6 months in adult prison because of the severity of my crime. And luckily, this guard named Brian sat me down one day and literally spoke his belief in who I was and said to me, "You don't belong here." And I think that was the first time I'd ever heard an adult say that, like, anything positive. And he had no reason to do it. And something changed inside of me. And I ended up getting released a few months later to this place called Portage, which was a therapeutic community in Sussex, New Brunswick, Canada. I'm going to rep Canada a little bit. And I did 11 months in this program that rebuilt the mindset. You want to talk about mindset? Like, just such a beautiful program where, like, twice a day we were telling our personal stories and we were understanding the meaning we associated to it, and, worked on our leadership skills indirectly by just holding a higher standard in our basic values. And at the end of that program, I was helping Rick, the maintenance guy, clean out one of the cabins that was on site because it was built in an old church camp. And I found this old computer and a yellow book on Java programming, and spoke to me. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing today. Like, I opened it and just followed chapter 1, and in 20 minutes I got the book to say, or I got the computer to say, "Hello world." And I thought it was, I thought it was a computer genius. Turns out I'm not, but it didn't matter. I became obsessed, like, just full on crazy. Because I have addictive personality. There's a reason why I don't gamble. I don't play video games. I stay away from vices. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. Like, I have to be very careful. The things I don't play golf, not because I don't think golf could be fun, although I don't think it's as fun as the stuff I do, because I would go all in. But that learning how to code in Portage saved my life and became the foundation of the entrepreneurial journey I live today. And you talked about some of my possessions. The most recent one I'm really proud of, Alex, I don't mean to brag, but I just got my own jet. And, like, it's pretty awesome. When you live in Kelowna and you want to say yes to your friends more, it's tough because I got a young family, and, like, that's crazy. Like, I was a 15-year-old juvenile delinquent in prison, and now I get to fly around with my pilot to go to do stuff, to share my message, to help other entrepreneurs and produce content. I just signed a big lease for a new media company we're starting. But none of that came without doing some serious work on the worth, the self-worth, the internals, the mindset, the peer groups. All of that had to come. All the today stuff, it's almost like today is a byproduct of way back then, right? Like, people want stuff, but they didn't become the person yet to get the stuff. Yeah. And that's what I would love to share with your audience, because that's the real, like, I talk about chocolate broccoli. You guys are all copywriters, so I feel like you guys know this stuff more than most. But there's all the, like, marketing hacks and get customers and sales scripts and all that stuff, which works and it's awesome. But the truth is, if you don't feel like you deserve that success, you'll sabotage it. One of my mentors said once, he said, making money is actually easy. Keeping it is hard. And I feel like a lot of times it's because people don't feel that they're worth that level of success. There's 3 fears in life: fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of success. I think most people live a life that is mediocre instead of rich and great because they're worried they have to hold a new standard of living if they went for it.
Yeah, and sometimes it's all rolled into one. And I think you talking about fear of failure and worth. I mean, I think every single person can relate to that. I know even in my own journey, I held myself back so much because I didn't feel like I was worthy of creating the type of business that I saw other people have. And then I felt silly when I was putting myself out there because I felt that sense of like, oh my gosh, now I'm out there to publicly fail in front of everybody. And then what happens if I actually do get a little bit of success? What if it's a fluke and then I have to maintain it for anyone to take me seriously? How will my relationships change? Like it's, you know, everyone talks about wanting to build a business. And I think the number one question I probably get is like, how do I build a 6-figure business? Like people get obsessed with these numbers. And I think at the end of the day, the work starts within and around you. And you talk about this concept that I love so much of the internal thermostat, which is about essentially recalibrating your set point, which can happen in finances, the people you surround yourself with. But I really do think that you need to create and change, like create an environment that allows you to change your internal thermostat to then get you on the path to then building a business, to then getting to whatever that big goal is. And I want to talk more about goal setting here in a sec, but can you talk a little bit about this concept of internal thermostat and what can someone do right now who's sitting there going, oh my gosh, I know I can do more. I know I have value to give to the world, but like, what the hell, where do I even start?
Yeah, and I'd love to get proper attributions because I don't know. I'm assuming like everything, if you go far back enough, you'll find it from somebody hundreds of years ago. Maybe it wasn't called a thermostat, but it was called something else. But it might have been maybe Think or Grow Rich or Gay Hendrickson's great book. It's Upper Limiting Beliefs. What's the book called? It's called The Big Leap. Gay Hendricks. Awesome book. If you're a high achiever and you feel like you achieve more, that's the book. After my book, Buy Back Your Time, obviously. But no, in all honesty, the thermostat is we all have one internally, right? We all have a level of the amount of money we have in our bank account, our weight, our health, the quality of our relationship, the amount of love that we feel we deserve, that's kind of set, that is not seen, right? And just like a thermostat in a room, if the room is set at 70 and all of a sudden the sun comes out and it's warming the room up through the glass windows and it warms up to 90, then the thermostat kicks in and the room gets cooled down, right? Or if it gets cool because, you know, the AC kicks in or whatever and the thermostat picks it up, it'll turn on the heater. And people do this all day long, right? In their bank account. Maybe somebody's thermostat for their financials is like $3,000 in their bank account. And if I've got $3,000 in cash, I'm okay. As soon as that goes down to $500, they stop spending, they start saving, they try to make more money. Same thing for their health. And people are like, oh, I don't know. I go, it's very simple. You get on a scale tomorrow morning, you wake up and you jump on that scale and it reads 20 pounds heavier than what you thought it should read. What do? Do you wake up and then go have a breakfast burrito with your friends? No, you probably have something a little bit more leaner and meaner. So we have these things set. What I try and what I do with my coaching clients is have the old high, whatever it is. So like the high watermark, if it's 100, you know, $5,000 a month, that might be your current high like level. You got to make the old high the new low. And how do you internally, what I call an identity switch, how do you do the work that increases your self-worth? Because we will never get a penny more than what we think we deserve. Never, ever. No human has ever. And the reason why is because we won't demand it of ourselves, or we won't demand it of others, or demand it of the world, right? And so what I do is I work with people to understand the opportunities to increase their thermostat and the strategies to do that. And then here's the big thing is the work instills the worth. Like, Alex, that's like, this is a thing that for me is so obvious once hopefully people hear it, is your ability to be consistent, to execute an activity over a long period of time will build your internal self-worth, because it's kind of like what I love about going to the gym. The gym teaches people so much, and it's a gateway drug to, you know, personal development and other things, because it teaches us the concept of delayed gratification, right? Like, nobody expects to go to the gym, do a set of arms, and then just be like, bam, biceps. Nobody, right? They expect I go there and maybe in a month of doing this, I'll get there. Same thing with business. And the self-worth, the confidence, the identity gets increased by doing the work over a long enough period of time without sabotaging yourself, by doing 5 days eating clean, and then the weekend rolls around and it's like, I had a couple too many drinks on Friday and Saturday and gave up all the gains by Sunday, right? That's where we start eating into our self-confidence and our identity. So that to me is the big concept of just how do we raise the internal thermostat, right? How do we get in and vibrate with other people that are at a 90 or 110, right? And keep that going so that we pull into our reality. All the stuff I have physically in my life, those are things that were pulled into the reality. They were always there. That's a crazy idea, Alex. Most people will be like, what is he talking about? I'm a little woo, but pretty practical. But the truth is that anything you want, we bring forward into our life. We attract into our life. Jim Rohn has this great quote I should probably memorize, but it's like, successful people attract things by being an attractive person, right? Attractive person doesn't mean GQ model. Attractive person means somebody that other people admire, trust, want to do business with, want to work with, etc. And like, that's what I think. It's the work instills the worth to make you an attractive person through your character, which then brings and pulls into you opportunities that otherwise most people wouldn't have. I mean, it's so fascinating when you hang around people that like, are lower level people and you just listen to their conversations and you're like, well, no wonder nobody wants to work with you. All you do is complain. Like, do you hear it? People should record themselves for a day and then transcribe it and do like a word cloud and see what are the words they use all the time and go, no, that can't be me. It's like, no, 1,000%. Can't, maybe, like to, hope. Those are your words.
Yep. Yeah, I love that your work instills your worth. And it reminds me of another quote that I learned from a friend of mine, Giovanni Marsico. He always talks about this idea that courage comes before confidence. I think people have this misconception that, like, they look at me, for example, and they go, Alex, you're just confident and you can show up on camera and you can do the damn thing and that's why you're successful, right? Like, whatever story you're telling yourself about, well, I can't be successful because, fill in the blank. And especially when you compare yourself to other people who, by the way, I left my very first video I ever recorded on YouTube so that everyone here can go back, scroll down and see how freaking terrible I was on video. Courage comes before confidence. You can't build a successful business before you learn to start taking action and moving in that direction. And so when I look back and I think, man, I put off starting my YouTube channel as an example for a whole year before I did it because of all the BS stuff I was telling myself about why I could never do it. I really wish I would have started when I started thinking about it and had the courage to do it, because now looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got there over time. My worth now, what I charge now, what I'm able to create now is a direct reflection of the worth that I've built over time. And I think that that's such a powerful and realistic conversation to have. And so many people are disillusioned by coaches out there, other people who try to pretend that literally building the life and business of your dreams should be easy. I think it could flow, but you got to put in the work.
This is the few things I want to double click. One, I think I'm going to condense it to this one concept, because I think oftentimes this is missed, and it literally double clicks on what you just said about the courage to start, right? I was on a sales call, or I do last phone calls with all hires. We hire a lot of people and they're usually like 15 minutes. And I'm on this call with this new sales rep that the team put forward. And I always flip it at the end. I say, now ask me questions. So like, how can I help? And he asked me a really smart question. He was like, I've got this great opportunity where I'm at now. I'm evaluating working with you guys. How do I know, how do you make the right decision, right? To your point of sometimes the courage comes before the confidence, right? The first step, the next step won't present itself till we make the first step. So how do you make the right decision? And I said, that's a beautiful question. Here's my philosophy. We don't make right decisions. We make decisions right. And he's like, what do you mean? I go, winners always win. And the reason winners win is because they move forward and they fix the bad decision. See, most winners, John Maxwell wrote a great book called Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. And what you discover when you look at people that are successful, they fail based on what normal people would call failure 5 times more often than the people that don't fail. But it's because they're doing so many more things. They're making so many more decisions. They're finding the courage to move forward. And then in that motion, they make the decisions right by calibrating, course correcting, etc. So oftentimes people think, you know, and I'm sure your audience is like this. They're like, well, how do I know what the right opportunity? Should I do this kind of copyright? Should I take this opportunity to work with this person? The truth is sometimes we don't know. All we need to know is let's make a decision and then make the decision right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it reminds me of marketing. I talk about this all the time because I teach marketing. Everyone wants to know like the secret funnel that's going to make them $1 million. And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, marketing is an experiment. Like, marketing is just having the courage to throw shit out there and go, is this gonna work? It's either gonna work and you're like, that's great, wow, amazing. You know how many times you knock a marketing campaign like out of the park first time? Rarely. You look at it and you go, okay, that's information, that's data. Now I'm gonna recalibrate and change it and improve and optimize. Yet somehow when it comes to like our own life and business, we don't allow ourselves any room for experimentation. And so I think the best thing you can do in business is be like, this is one big giant experiment and I'm gonna have fun, and also learning to trust the process. And if it is a quote unquote failure, which like you, I don't even really think of that word anymore, because when I look back at what were my failures, I'm talking like massive, you know, losses, starting businesses, them going nowhere, closing shit down, opening shit down. Like when I look at that, I go, I would never be here with the wisdom and experience that I have, with the work that I have, if it hadn't have been for that path that I went through.
My mentors in Silicon Valley, because I spent a lot of time building and exiting software companies, the way we talk there about these companies is it's kind of weird, because there's like one part where it's this crazy belief that this will change the world. Okay, so that's true. And in the same breath, I know what I believe to be true is wrong. And what my job is right now is I have to go figure out what assumptions that I have are wrong so I can fix them fast. There's no like, I believe this is going to work 100% the way I see it today. The belief is, I know I'm wrong. I will iterate. I will what we call pivot, right? Lean startup language. I will pivot my way into searching what's called product market fit. And that's a complete, like, imagine if people just got honest with themselves and said, I'm starting a business. I know some part of this is wrong, but that's not going to stop me from starting. And my job is to move as fast as I can to prioritize the riskiest assumptions, to validate or disprove them wrong or right, and move on to the next one, trusting that if I do this fast, that is the skill set that's going to get me to success. And that is honestly what successful entrepreneurs do unconsciously. They literally go, oh, there's something about this business that is not going to be as good. There's something about the landing page that won't work, but some of it will work, and we'll just figure it out real quick and keep the stuff that's working, get rid of the stuff that's not, and move it quick. As long as we like review that once a week and not just like set it and forget it, I trust we're going to win. I mean, this is why like success leaves clues. People that succeed, it's so funny. I see them win in different industries, win in different scenarios. Like it's not that they're special. They just have this sense of curiosity, determination, humbleness. They're not, they don't get high on their own supply. Like there's these character traits of people that always win that some folks can't figure out. It's like they're literally moving forward in life and knowing that they're just able to fix problems faster than others. And that's the skill. When you want to talk about self-worth, like Alex, I grew up, thinking I was worth less than zero. Honestly, I didn't feel that I should take the air from somebody else. Like that's how bad it was when I started as a kid. And over time, I just felt super imposter syndrome and lacked so much confidence, right? And I just figured, well, if I do this thing and it works, I'll just keep doing some more of that. And over time, when the setbacks happened and I got through them, and sometimes I didn't win, like they were losses, they were L's in other people's minds, but I queued up a lesson. I queued up some experience. I queued up something I could take forward. And then there was this moment, probably about 12, 13 years ago. This is the thing about comparing ourselves. Like I'm 43. I've been doing this since I was 17. Okay. So is that 26? I'm 26 years old in entrepreneurial years. If other people want to compare their chapter 8 to my chapter 26, that's just silly, right? Like when I on my founders hikes I do every Tuesday, there's a 16-year-old kid named Josh that comes with me, okay? And the first time he came for the hike, I met him on the way up and we talked on the way down, and he's asking me about success principles. He's like, what does it take to be successful? I said, Josh, can I just pause you for a sec? He's like, yeah, what? I go, dude, you just told me you're the head of your debate team. You go to the gym, like you're 16 and I can tell you got muscles. And you thought it smart enough for you to come on this hike. Like I was doing nothing productive at 16. You're like on it's bananas. And when I get in the parking lot, his dad's waiting for him because he couldn't even get there. His dad dropped him off and waited for him. I asked to talk to his dad and just told him how amazing of a job he's done raising Josh. And Josh keeps coming on these hikes. But I just think too often we compare ourselves to other people that are further along in the journey. Like I expect Josh to absolutely tower my achievements, like as he should. He's 16, starting with this peer group, this mastermind of entrepreneurs that have like, I didn't have that till I was in my 30s, right? So I just think the whole idea of I don't even remember where I was going with that. What did I say before?
Oh, well, and this kind of what you were saying, and I'm so glad you said it, that it's not like you're just born with the worth. You know, you said yourself, like, hey, you had to, yes, have some courage.
That was it. Yeah, I had all this self-doubt for a long time. And the setbacks actually created the identity that no matter what I get into, I can figure it out. That was like 15 years ago, 13 years ago, oh my gosh, yeah. Literally no matter what, drop me in the middle of another country where I don't even speak the native language. And my mindset, how I show up, my character, the skill set I have, that given enough time, I will figure it out. And that nobody could take that from me. That was like a really cool, oh snap. Oh, wow. Because I remember somebody said that. They said, if you took Jeff Bezos, okay, it used to be the richest person, Elon's number one now. But you take Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, and you pick him up, take everything away from him, and you drop him in South Africa. He has a skill set. He has a self-worth. He has an internal thermostat that's set at 100 billion. And you give him 20 years, my gut tells me he does it in 10 or 15 because he has the skill set of collecting collaborations and capital and seeing market opportunities and all these things that are part of who he is that will never be taken from him. That idea of us going out into the world and studying folks like yourself and reading the books and going to the seminars and having mentorship and coaching and knowing that the more we invest in ourselves, we will take our conversations, our thoughts with us for the rest of our lives, more so than just this business, to the next opportunity, to every interaction for the rest. Like to me, that's like the coolest trade in the world is go become more valuable to the market and don't stop, because that is the ultimate game we're all playing that I think some people forget. And even ones that get successful while they're climbing the mountain, halfway they go, wow, I never thought I'd create any of this. So, I guess I'm going to chill out. And they start setting up shop and they start building their little camp. And, 3, 4, 5 years later, they wake up one day and they go, whatever happened to us climbing the mountain, that peak? Remember the way we used to wake up with the vision boards and the drive and the to-do list and the habits, and those have all gone is fascinating, because those are the people I work with today, right? These very successful people, but along the way they kind of forgot why they were doing it. But it doesn't matter. Those people are plagued with the same stuff that folks that haven't even started, because they're worried about having something they could lose.
Yeah, and like you said it, like, you know, it's like those little like 2 degree improvements to just continue cumulatively adding to your life's experiences and going, you know what, this is the path I'm on, and being unattached to how quickly you get there, but saying I'm committed to constantly bettering myself and not comparing myself to anybody else. I know before I started, like, on a final thought, and then I want to ask you one more thing, but I remember when I started the Coffee Posse, I'd been working behind the scenes in businesses as a marketing consultant for almost a decade, and I had built up like a little bit of, you know, rapport and authority in a small circle of people, and I was terrified that if I started my own brand and business and I failed, or if I wasn't as successful immediately as the people that I, you know, had been helping behind the scenes for years, that it meant that I had failed. And I realized that that's just so crazy, the stories we tell ourselves. And now people come to me like, oh, you built your business so quickly. To me, it doesn't feel quickly at all. It feels like, well, you didn't see the 10 years that I put in before I then started my brand. But to just have the courage to start and to stay focused on bettering yourself, I think is so powerful. And then on a final note, because you've hinted at this a little bit, is this idea of community, because I know you do such a great job of curating incredible people in your life. And to be honest, this is something that I've struggled with a little bit, because I find there's like home Alex and then there's like travel work Alex. And I find it hard sometimes to reconcile these two lives that I have. What advice would you give to anyone who's like, you know, I realize I am around a lot of people that aren't going to help me really raise that internal thermostat? How do you start fostering community of people who can help you grow?
It's such a beautiful question, Alex. I just want to state this, like, when we talk about the internal thermostat, there's 3 different strategies, but the primary one is your environment, right? If you think about it, if I grabbed you and you're like, oh, it's positive mental attitude and positive affirmation, all that stuff. If I grabbed you as an individual and put you in one of those commercial freezers, right, and you're inside of it, like, no amount of positive mental attitude is going to get your temperature to warm up. Like, you're going to be cold. I grab you from there and I put you on the beach in the Bahamas, all of a sudden you're warm, right? Just by the environment. And we are human, which means most of the stuff that we learn is caught, not taught. I mean, look at the fact that we speak English. Nobody taught me English. I caught it by being around my parents, by being in a certain geography. Yeah. So a long time ago, I realized that I was the type of person, it may not be for everybody, but I'm the type of person, whether I like it or not, I learn best by being around other people, right? Yes, I like to read because it's a cheat code. Yes, I have coaches, but if I want to learn anything, I go to the place. Where I want to be in Silicon Valley because I want to learn tech startups, I move there. I want to learn anything, I go to the place. And what I realized is that having 2 different parts of my life, one that's like the professional part, and then one that's the family or friend part, it didn't support the level of dreams and goals I had for my life. Like, that's just the truth. It's like, I got to be honest with myself. Here's what I want to accomplish in my life. I want to, you know, become what I call the 10.0 version of myself. And to do that, I have to move faster. And one of the biggest opportunities was to curate the time and the quality of conversations and people I spent time with. So for me, it's an integrated life. You know, it's a big part of why I wrote the book, Buy Back Your Time, is I wanted to teach people how to buy back their time so they had the space to invest in relationships and acquire new skills and become more, so they had more to give, right? I really believe, you know, every human on earth is to be here to become the best version of themselves, right? Their greatest self, the 10.0 version of themselves. If you're a person of faith, the person God created you in his image of, and then share that person with the world. And share that person with the world means your kids, your community, your team members, or whoever, right? That's how we become more. Hopefully, buy into this, please, so that you have more to give. Become the best version of yourself so you can give yourself to the world. because that's what we're meant to do.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think the biggest takeaway, and you talk about this in your book, is this idea of auditing everything you do in every day. Because obviously it doesn't happen overnight, but when you start realizing that your worth and how other people see your worth is a reflection of how you value yourself, which means how you value your time, which means who are you giving your energy to. And you talk about this concept of doing a time energy audit. Honestly, if everyone listening to this got Dan's book and you did a time energy audit for your life and realized what are the things that you're holding on to or tolerating that are actually not a reflection of who you want to become and the person you are, in fact, already becoming, starting there, I think is the absolute best thing that you can do. It's powerful and it's real. And I can't thank you enough for being here and for sharing all of this.
Well, I'm honored, Alex. And I just want to thank you because you're just such an example of shining your light as bright as possible and just lighting other people's candles. Like this is, I don't know, it takes nothing from us. And it's just, I truly believe that's why we're here. And so I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Everybody go check out Dan on Instagram. His YouTube channel is amazing. We'll link to both of those below. And we will see you back here next week with a brand new video. Until then, I'm Alex. Ciao for now. All right, guys, if you enjoyed that video, make sure to check out the next one from me right here. And you can click right here to get a free gift. All right, real talk. If I had to start my freelance business from scratch with no skills, no connections, no clients, and no clue what to do, here is exactly what I would do in my first year to hit 6 figures. Stay tuned.